All right, the big face-off in Parliament today before it was adjourned. Get ready to shell out more for essential items. A whole host of goods and services is set to become costlier with the new GST rates coming into effect from today. Everyday items like rice, wheat, packaged curd, etc. are costlier as 5% GST will now be levied on them. Not just food items, hospital bills are all set to get more expensive, as is travel, with hotel bills set to increase. 12% GST will be charged on solar water heaters, hotel accommodation, maps and charts. 18% GST will be applicable on printing, writing, drawing, ink, knives with cutting blades, pencil sharpeners, LED lamps, drawing and marking out instruments. Now, with the Aam Aadmi feeling the pinch, the opposition raised the issue in Parliament. Rajya Sabha proceedings were adjourned for the day after disruption by Congress MPs over the hike in GST. The opposition stormed the well of the House, sloganeering against the GST rise. The opposition also said whether the centre was intent on bleeding the Aam Aadmi dry.
मैं मांग करूंगा केंद्र सरकार से कि ये जो खाने पीने की चीज़ों पे जीएसटी लगाया गया है इसको वापस लिया जाए। आज देश में अकेला दिल्ली राज्य ऐसा है, आप एक आम नागरिक से बाहर जाके पूछिए जहाँ पे आम नागरिक को महंगाई से हम लोग कुछ थोड़ी सी सुविधा दे रहे हैं। इतनी महंगाई के ज़माने के अंदर दिल्ली सरकार लोगों को महंगाई से थोड़ी सी रियायत दे रही है। मैं केंद्र सरकार से निवेदन करूंगा कि ये जीएसटी जो है ये सही नहीं है, जो आपने खाने पीने की चीज़ों पर लगाया है इसको वापस लिया जाए।
At least the price issue should be discussed at length in the House, because each and every segment of our society has been reeling under the price rise issue. I mean, economic distress has been so severe for the common people that they are simply gasping. So our first and foremost demand to the ruling dispensation that price rise issue should be given priority.
Now, even as it came under fire for burdening the Aam Aadmi even further, the BJP has put out a list of people who were members of a committee that was to decide on the rationalization of GST rates, questioning that when there were ministers from opposition-ruled states like Bengal and Rajasthan, why did they not oppose this proposal when it was being discussed?
The decision taken by the GST Council has endorsement of each and every state. Every state's vote value is the same. Therefore, this decision has been taken in consultation with all Congress-ruled states. Now, if Rahul Gandhi is not aware of the process, maybe he should educate himself. Also, this GST will allow for manufacturers and service providers to claim input credit, which will actually help bring down the prices of the commodities.
All right, joining us on the debate, we have Professor Santosh Mehrotra, Senior Economist, Kuntal Krishna, Political Analyst, Zeba Yasmeen, National Spokesperson of Samajwadi Party, Vijay Sardana, Economist. My first question is to Senior Leader of the BJP, Narendra Taneja. Why at this time was this necessitated, Mr. Taneja? At a time when we already have expensive fuel, we already have high inflation, your incomes are affected by the pandemic. Why do you need to increase GST?
You said it's factually wrong. The centre has not taken this decision. It's not correct to say that the central government has taken this decision. The decision has been taken by the GST Council. And what is the GST Council? 1/3 centre and 2/3 the states. That's the weight.
Sir, I will come to the opposition in just a second. No. I will talk about states in a second. For the time being, could this not be put on hold? Why is it necessary to increase GST at this time? Why?
No, the centre can't do that. Centre can't put this on hold. Decision has been taken by the GST Council, and it is a call of the GST Council, which, as you know, that Amit Balwe was also trying to explain to you, that you see these things are discussed threadbare in the GST Council, where the centres, if you look at the total construct in terms of power, is 1/3. The 2/3 is with various states, ruled by different political parties. So point is, once the decision is taken by the GST Council, is implemented.
Mr. Taneja, again, it doesn't make us feel better if we are paying more money that, oh, the centre hasn't done it. All of them together decided to, basically just bleed our income dry. Why is the center and the states together doing it to the common man?
Now, this is now the right question. Now, you see center and state both. So basically, you are saying various state government and the center, why they are doing what they are doing. You see, many of these items, which, for instance, were listed out of you, listed by you, were already, the central, various state governments actually were taxing these items already. Traditionally, they've been doing it for years. Now, all that, since we have got a GST and now as a national platform, one country, one tax kind of mantra. And at the same time, we all know that GST as it is an evolving platform. It's a joint platform. It's the central government and state government. It's evolving. It's still evolving. But if there is any feedback, I'm sure in the next meeting, GST Council can take a view. But as far as to say that just to play politics, to say and direct all fingers in the direction of the center, that's factually wrong.
Okay, sir, even if it is not about the center, even if the states were partaking in all of this, but Professor Santosh Mehrotra, was it necessary at this time?
Of course, it was not necessary. And let's just put the facts on the table about how decision making takes place within the GST Council. 1/3 of the weight of voting in the GST Council belongs to the center. And when you take on board the BJP ruled states, then quite clearly the BJP in the ruling party has a majority. There's just no question about it. So yes, the other opposition states, Amit Malviya might be technically right, but being technically right but substantively wrong is what is happening here. Because clearly the states may have been taxing these commodities under VAT. VAT existed and ceased to exist in 2017 on the 30th of June when GST came into existence. So it has not been taxed. This is the most important point. The second important point is that, as you have, Padmaja, rightly been pointing out, when inflation is running at the level at which it's running, one, and two, the CSO, the Central Statistical Organization, has told us that per capita consumption is still in FY22 below 1920 level. And with inequality having risen, you can imagine what has happened to people at the bottom of the pyramid. And their joblessness has increased. It's regular jobs that have been lost. Wages have been falling in that situation. On an already flawed GST, where you have 5 to 6 rates, that was not the original intention 10 years ago. You are now putting additional indirect taxes on ordinary food items. And let's just remind ourselves that 70% of the food inflation is accounted for by vegetables, cereals, milk products, and oils and fats. Now you've added on these ordinary items as well. So let's just remind.
What is the logic, Mr. Sardana? What is the logic for this?
Good evening to all of you. I think the logic is very simple. We don't want to study the details, what is given in the GST order. First of all, we have to understand that as of today, all these manufacturers were not able to claim input credit. It means they were paying tax on packaging material, they were paying tax on transportation, they were paying tax on various inputs, including the chemicals, fuel, whatever they were using for manufacturing of these products. It comes to about 3.5% to 4%. Because these products were out of GST, so GST law says if your output is in zero category, means you are not paying GST, you cannot claim input credit. It means any manufacturer who was manufacturing these products were actually paying taxes 3 to 4%, but not able to claim any tax. It means that was passed on to consumers. Now what will happen? Why putting 5%? All these small, medium scale companies can claim 3 to 5% input credit back. It means the tax incidence is not 5%, not even 4% they were paying and not able to claim refund, it will be less than that, anything between 1 to 1.5% to any manufacturer. Number one.
No, so
that
just help us understand. You're saying that eventually what I pay for it at the shop counter is going to be the same?
Yes, that is what I'm trying to understand or trying to explain.
So this GST hike as is being projected isn't really going to translate into actual money taken from my pocket in the shop. Is that what you're saying?
You are already paying that money, which is included as GST. And that input credit is not claimed by the manufacturer. So ultimately, who pays? The consumer pays.
Okay,
now,
Professor Malhotra, would you like to respond to that? That ultimately this is statistical jugglery, but in the end, what the consumer ends up paying is not going to change.
Well, we'll wait to see. We'll wait to see whether the input tax credit that the seller is now going to be able to claim, as Mr. Sardana is telling us, then is he going to pass it on to the consumer or not? We will wait to see. It's a bit unlikely that that's necessarily going to happen. He's very hopeful. We'll wait to see. And he doesn't have an answer to the
All right. Do you have an answer, Mr. Taneja? Will you get the manufacturers to help us out?
Two points. You see, as Mr. Sardana has tried to explain, the net when it comes to the ordinary consumer at the shop is going to be practically nothing, neutral. I mean, this is what I tried to explain earlier also. Various states, the governments, they have been already taxing even before the GST came, and there have been other. So you have to look at the total construct, the way it actually functions at the practical level. The second point, Mr. Malhotra says that these are all BJP states. Mr. Malhotra, when the finance minister of a BJP ruled state comes to the GST Council, he does not come there as a BJP. He comes as finance minister, represent the financial interest, economic interest of his state. The party does not issue any diktat to the finance minister.
Okay, so now let's come to the political part. The economic part now hinges on whether the manufacturers will pass on the benefits they are getting to the consumers. But that being said, let's come to the politics, Kuntal Krishna. Everyone decided on it. Everyone sat in on that meeting. That time nobody said anything. West Bengal didn't say anything. Rajasthan didn't say anything. And now Mr. Gehlot is coming out and saying that why this additional tax? Why didn't his finance minister oppose it?
Padmaja, in GST Council, it is BJP and only BJP which is in majority. And let me tell you, this is not the time when your note of dissent is noted. It is the time of dictatorship. You are dictated for everything. And so is this Gabbar Singh tax dictated. I'm sorry to say, but I would request my friends from BJP not to involve politics into everything. This is a matter which concerns poor of this country. It is very simple. This is a government-sponsored plan to exploit common man of India just to help
Mr.
a chosen few industrialist friends.
You keep talking about the committee, but nobody has a voice in that committee.
We are increasing this GST.
Padmaja, you see, when it comes to the poor people, please check the record of your own party. We understand the poor better than any other political party in this country. Let's get real in this. If you want to call it dictatorship and all that, I mean, that's kind of, your rhetoric. Nobody, let's have it. If you don't have any substance, I'm ready to admit it, and then I'm ready to listen to you. Forget about this all this slogan. Don't shout slogan. If you have any facts, let's discuss cold facts. If you got any facts, let's talk about that.
Answer the point. He's saying that the committee composition counts for nothing because there the BJP has a majority and they steamroll everyone.
Then it shows that he doesn't know what happens inside the GST Council. He has to talk of the finance minister of the state that he comes from. He will tell you that. Ask the former finance minister of, even Punjab when the Congress was in power. He even overruled his own chief minister. He said, I am there to represent the interest of the people of my state. That's how it functions. When it comes to GST Council, it's a very vibrant, very democratic, a very transparent organization. Those who are the members of opposition.
Zeba Yasmin, vibrant and democratic.
Ask them.
Their financial prudence rules. It's outside that politics takes over.
I've heard a BJP spokesperson. He was saying that we are not responsible. It is 1/3 central government and 2/3 of the state government. But my dear friend, where is BJP? It's in center. It's in many states. So why are you, excusing yourself from that? And one thing, I'm not, I cannot explain in that way.
But yes, what I can put up is a common man's problem. A lower class in India is already living a very pathetic life. Middle class, after 2 lockdowns and this coronavirus, they are, anyhow coping up. But this decision is going to affect them badly. Lower class is anyhow, getting free ration and anyhow surviving. But middle class, I think they should also get their ration card made, because they'll also have to stand in a queue and they'll also have
quick
to...
rebuttal from Mr. Taneja.
Yeah, just a minute. I mean, ask the finance minister, you are not in power, unfortunately, there, but ask the finance minister of any opposition, state and to raise this question next to the GST Council meeting. That's the right platform. You can't say just because we happen to be a majority in many states that you want to punish us for that. As I said, that's a democratic platform. Decisions are taken, jointly by the center and various states, including the states ruled by us. But the finance minister of states ruled by us, they go there representing the interest of their own state, not of the whole of BJP. That's not how it functions. Okay. If that's how you want to look at it, it's up to you, but it shows the ignorance. You don't know how the GST Council functions. Please go and read that or talk with those people or members there.
The gas cylinder was for 400 rupees. Then it was very pricey.
There was no GST Council before 2014. There was no GST Council. Please read history. GST Council was born after that.
I'm just talking about inflation.
Okay, you can give a reasoning. You can give a reasoning about how this was a decision taken in tandem with all the state governments and their finance ministers, the GST Council. The fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, it lands up on the plate of the common man, and he or she is thinking, where does this money that I'm going to have to shell out extra going to come from? Thanks very much, all gentlemen, and Ziba Yasmeen for having joined me. Quick break.